well, welcome to Book Witches with the Bee special series. Not only are we doing spoilers, but we're together in the same place.
Look at us. I can touch you. You're right there. I made a visit, so I'm here. We're here.
Yeah, she's in Jersey with me.
It's my first time. It's been fun.
It's been fun.
That's been fun.
Yeah. So I guess what we're going to do in this episode, we're going to be talking about the ACOTAR series, including all 5 books by Sarah J. Maas.
Yes.
And we're going to be talking theories. We're still going to have some of our favorite segments. We're going to be talking about daddy issues.
Some daddy issues. What else did we say we were going to talk about?
Are they hot or are they a beast?
Oh, yeah, that's a real big section.
Yeah,
for
this spoiler episode is like probably the reason we started that segment.
It is, 100%.
So buckle up, ladies,
Let's
gentlemen, and people.
And people in between.
Mm-hmm. All right. So I have in my book here, I like what we want to start talking about.
We were at dinner last night talking about this, by the way. We sat outside at dinner and made notes.
We did.
So.
We were very official. I panicked when I ordered a steak, and the guy was like, "How do you want it cooked?" And I super panicked, and I was like,
Medium. That's fine.
That was fun.
It was a great time. She got the red steak. It was good.
I did. It was great. All right, shall we?
Yes.
Okay, so much to talk about. We have been reading, at this point, although only 3 episodes have been released, we have recorded 6 of them.
We have, yes.
So we're up into chapter 31.
Yes.
And we have been dying to talk about
So many things.
so many things. First of all, Tamlin.
Tam.
Timmy Tam.
Or as the internet likes to call him, Tampon.
Yes. Tampon. Apt name.
Truly.
There's a few things. First of all, I want to say this, and I'm very proud of myself. I was so proud of myself when I got into the second book. I never liked Tamlin.
I wish I could say the same. I did not. I liked him in the first one. You were supposed to.
You were supposed to. Something in me was like, no, he never lets Farah do what she wants to do.
I did know that she was going to be with Rhys when I read the first book. And so I remember being like, if you ever watched The Vampire Diaries, this was the same thing for me when I watched it, is like, how do they redeem this person enough for me to like them for Rhys? It happened.
Yes.
But, I remember, same thing with Damon, if you haven't watched that series, but I was like, how are they going to redeem this man enough for me to like him? I did eventually. Yeah. But
they really had to destroy Stefan for that, though.
Kind of same thing with Tamlin. It's kind of the same.
Oh my god, Tamlin is totally Stefan.
He's 100% Stefan, yeah.
I had such a problem with Stefan, too. I was immediately Damon all the way.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I remember, I also agree with you on that point. I was like, I like this one better. But we're not supposed to. I have a thing for the bad boys, I guess. Same. Always same.
Yeah, Tamlin never lets Farah do anything she wants to do. I literally almost stopped reading the book several times upon my first read. I didn't know anything about this book. I happened upon it. I had just moved to St. Louis, so I didn't have any friends to spoil anything for me yet.
Valid.
And I was just like, why am I reading this? Why am I still reading this? And then it ended, and I was like, how can there possibly be more after this book? Because it ends with such a neat little bow.
In theory, I think you could end with the first one if you really want to. I don't think you should, because there's so much more. It's almost not a different book series, but almost.
It feels different.
To this first one.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We have some theories for Tam Tam.
Yes.
Let's get into Tam Tam theories. So let's talk about potential mates for Tamlin.
Yes. So we have 2 different ones.
Yes.
Which one do you want to talk about first?
Let's talk about Amarantha first.
Okay, so there are some theories floating around on the internet. I wish I could take credit for this being a thing that I thought of. This is not me. This is very much on the internet. That Amarantha is actually Tamlin's mate. And that's where, a lot of this, obsession from her comes in, and, the, I don't know, weirdness from Tamlin, I guess, potentially, in his, trying to resist, because he doesn't want her.
Right.
As his mate.
He also doesn't, does he kill her in the end? Is it he who kills her?
He does kill her, which that could maybe not lend to the theory, but he also thought he was in love with Feyre. That's a whole thing.
Mhm.
But that's complicated. But I also think it was the expectation of, like, what was expected of him. But he did technically... He was also in beast form, though, so we don't really know how that works.
Yeah, we have a lot of questions about how beast form differs from high fae form for Tamlin.
For Tamlin, yeah. Because, like, Rhys talks about how he doesn't like going full beast form because he doesn't think he's going to be able to get back.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that makes me kind of think it's almost like a more
Like
animalistic...
a different thing.
Yeah, like a different thing.
And then I also think it's interesting, just kind of going off of that, I think Tamlin's the only one who we see regularly shift into beast form.
Like, fully.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of the other High Lords, it's mentioned in one of the books that all of the High Lords have a beast form.
Yes.
I guess during the war scenes in
Do they all
Akabor,
shift?
some of them shift, or all
Yeah.
of them shift because they're, like, pure fighting mode.
That's
But
fair.
Tamlin is the only one that we see, like, regularly.
He seems very comfortable, if not almost more comfortable in his beast form than he is in his fae form.
Yeah.
I would say.
So, and I think, like, I feel like Amarantha being his mate could make a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Because she's a beast.
She is a beast. I also think it lends to why he was so, like, kind of... I mean, there was a lot of trauma that went on after Under the Mountain. I understand that part of it. But the way that he acted after the mountain just seems like such a big shift. And it could be because someone... Like, he killed his mate. That would be a very, like, doubly traumatic situation. It also would explain why, amongst other reasons, why he refused to sleep with her. Because that would have, like, bonded...
Yeah, that's
fully
true.
locked the mating bond in place. So
That's very true. That's so interesting. The other mate option that we have is Elaine.
which is still a viable one.
Yes. So there's... Did we come up with this theory, or is this also the internet? I don't remember.
I think you've added stuff to it. I saw it partially because I'm on the internet a lot, guys. I'm very chronically online. If there's something about me, that is one thing. I think I heard it because she paints, which she is known for flowers. She very clearly is associated with spring. But she painted flowers on the dresser. And the way that
Yes.
Feyre does that, all of them have been associated with their mate so far. So it seems like there's some connection to the spring court, which could be Lucian, if we're being honest.
It could be.
Could be. He's there. But would maybe Lind, since he's technically with Autumn, could lean more towards...
It could lean towards Tamlin. We have that pesky little thing where Lucian immediately upon her coming out of the cauldron is like, my mate!
I have a theory about that as well. So, how Lucian is... So I think this part I actually came up with on my own. I could be wrong if this is on the internet. I don't remember, to be honest. But I think Lucian might be covering for Tamlin because he's used to doing that and knew that Tamlin wouldn't want to have to, like, talk about it or deal with it. So I think Tamlin said something, or he could tell that that's what was happening when Elaine came out, and he was just like, my mate, that one's mine, to, like, kind of cover for Tamlin.
Yes. There's a few reasons why I really like this theory. First of all, I know that you had pointed out that Azriel says that he can smell the mating bond or whatever.
Between Lucian and
However, we find out in the Throne of Glass series that you can fake a mating bond.
You can fake a mating bond.
And we're dealing with some really powerful enemies here who, for whatever reason, like, whatever reason that might play into, like, it's fairly possible that one of them is powerful enough to fake this mating bond.
Especially, we don't really know how powerful Lucian is, because I don't think we get that, but if he was really wanting to cover and was, like, channeling his magic that way, I could see him doing that.
And then this is the part that I definitely came up with on my own,
Yes.
like, once when I was, like, hyped up on caffeine or something. I don't know. This was like a fever dream of a theory. But we hear a lot about how Tamlin has a heart of stone.
Yes, we do.
Right, and he's from the spring court, so I was thinking while I was hopped up on caffeine.
As you should.
Sometimes I drink too much caffeine, folks.
The straight up coffee on our table here.
Yes. So I was like, a heart of stone, and then if you're associating that with the spring court, the heart of stone meaning, like, how much can he really feel? Are his emotions trapped inside his heart of stone?
Yeah.
Can he actually love anyone? Which we can get more into because we have a lot to say on this.
We do.
But I was thinking about plants that have stone-like seeds, like peaches, plums, like the stone fruits.
Some fruits.
What if Tamlin's heart is a stone fruit seed? And
not crazy. We got this.
He just needs somebody to nurture and help it grow and blossom into a real heart, aka Elaine, who's really good at growing plants.
She is very good at growing plants, although we have not seen her grow any edible plants.
We haven't, but that doesn't mean that she couldn't.
I mean, I guess technically a heart is not edible.
A heart is not edible.
Well, not. Well,
well technically a heart is edible. Wow.
You know what I mean.
Yes.
Things that would typically be eaten. I don't think fairy hearts is necessarily on any sort of menu in this
I don't think so.
universe. So
no. And so that would be like Elaine being his mate would like she is like the nurturing love or whatever that he needs for his heart to unlock itself from this stone seed thing that exists there right now. And I also think that like the reason a lot of people loved Tamlin in the first book is because he is caring.
Nurturing.
He's nurturing.
Seemingly.
And he takes it like just like way too far. But I think with the right person, aka Elaine, who wants to be taken care of.
She wants that still, yeah.
It could be like a very beautiful thing. They could bring out the best in each other. Tam Tam has his own little villain arc going right now.
He does.
There's a theory that Elaine's gonna have a villain arc coming up.
Honestly, them as both villains would be kind of interesting.
I would love that.
I have like a separate theory that kind of goes along with like the Amarantha thing, is that Tamlin is actually evil and actually was like kind of working with Amarantha this whole time, but like wanted to pretend because he is a High Lord, that way he could kind of learn things, except he was kind of bad at it, that he wasn't the bad guy, which is why he was using Feyre as his cover for that, this like innocent human girl, so when she left, he like didn't have the same cover that he needed anymore. And also like they framed Rhys so much as the bad guy that now Rhys is no longer bad. Other people are going to be looking at Tamlin.
Yeah.
Because Feyre's like, he is a bad person.
Right.
And
Especially
exposed it.
because Tamlin's family is the one that started the whole killing family thing.
Exactly, yeah. They were
So.
definitely not pro-human, which we also talked about, that we don't think Tamlin is very pro-human.
I don't think Tamlin's super pro-human.
No.
Because he says that he doesn't want to be anything like his father and all of that stuff. And there's like no human whatever. But he makes that deal with Amarantha where he's like, I'd rather be with a human than with you. And it's like a really big insult.
It does seem like an insult. I can't decide if he meant it as like a legitimate insult or if like I would rather have like a fleeting thing. I mean, because to them, I think that's the thing like with him falling in love with Feyre that was so interesting to me, because their lives are truly so fleeting that they almost have to be like children to them.
Yeah.
Like by the time they come to maturity, they're probably close to death in terms of fairy, like, you know.
Yeah.
Fairy, what is that called?
Fairy lifespan?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Just a whole lot. There's just so much intrigue and mystery around Tamlin that I honestly, like, didn't think so until, I think, Silver Flames. And then all of these theories started coming out, and I was like, I guess Tamlin, there's a lot more to him.
I do think I recently read something that was like an interview with Sarah J. Maas where she was like, there is more to him and he is intriguing. I don't know if she's going to explore more with him or not, or if it's just kind of, because I do sometimes think that authors have like a more in their head, but they maybe don't always write it out, or like that's more of kind of how they view these people.
Absolutely.
So, which,
as an aspiring author currently working on a book, I can tell you that I have too much for what I can fit on the pages.
yeah, I would agree with that. So.
Yeah, so I think that's all really interesting. I'm really excited. I don't know if we know officially what the next book is going to be about.
I don't think we know yet. I do think we know she's working on the 6th Ekatar book, because she did post that, but like we don't have a release date, we don't have a title.
Yeah.
We don't have anything.
I just really hope that it is a little bit, I want more from Elaine, and I never thought I would say that.
Yeah.
But I loved her getting kind of mean in A Court of Silver Flames, and I want more of that Elaine.
I feel like Elaine and Feyre are going to have very similar arcs, where like as humans they felt like kind of helpless. Nessa has never felt helpless a day in her life.
No.
Kind of helpless and like just kind of making the best of it, and as they become more Fey, like they kind of come into their own.
Yeah.
I mean, she's a seer, which they don't have. I mean, there's a lot of power in that, but I also think there's some fear in that for her, because she knows what's coming. She may not know how to interpret it, but she knows what's coming.
Yep. Yeah, I love that. Okay, I think we've basically moved on from Tamlin a little bit.
Everyone should move on from Tamlin.
Everyone should move on from Tamlin. Which one do you want to talk about next?
Oh, I don't
My
know.
secret book of theories.
Don't look at them.
We're going to talk about the Morrigan.
So this character, I think, is a bit weird, not weirdly, but interestingly quite divided in terms of whether people like or dislike her.
Yes. I love her.
I do too. I have some qualms about certain things with her, but in general, I like her.
She doesn't make the best choices sometimes.
She does not, but does...
Who does?
Yeah, like, no one in these books make great choices.
No
like,
one.
I feel like sometimes people are... I mean, this is typical. People are more harsh on women for the bad choices that they make, because I think all of the male characters in this make horrible life choices. And
Like multiple times.
Multiple times. I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
But-
all of the choices surrounding the mates. Reese waited way too long. Lucian literally immediately.
You know, we did give crap for Reese not saying it soon enough, and Lucian's like, that ain't gonna be me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it the moment you flop out like a fish out of this cauldron.
Okay, side note real quick, because I do want to say this, and then we'll get back to Moore, because we have a lot to talk about with Moore.
We do have lots to talk about her.
Everyone gives Lucian so much crap about, like, immediately being like, my mate, and
Yeah.
everyone's like, you couldn't give her a minute. Here's the thing. He just went through something traumatic, too. Not traumatic like Elaine. I'm not saying that.
Very true.
But he just saw someone that he knows a dear friend of his cares about deeply be thrown into a cauldron and come out Fae, and all of a sudden that's his mate, and he can't winnow away. They're all trapped there.
He's stuck.
So he can't pull a Reese like, oh, bye.
Yeah,
Right?
Reese straight up ran away. Just
Like,
ran away.
disappeared. Lucian doesn't have the option to do that, and like so much traumatic stuff is happening in this scene where they're all trapped there. I don't think we should be so harsh on him for being like my mate.
In general, I don't think we should be as harsh on Lucian as everyone seems to be. I love that man.
Yeah.
He's probably one of my favorite male characters.
I agree.
In the series.
I agree. We must keep talking about Lucian, but later. Let's get back to Moore.
Yeah, yes, don't get distracted.
Don't get distracted.
More again. So her, like, power is truth, which I still don't know what that
So
means.
many questions.
Like, I get, like, I don't know if it means, like, she can pull truth from people, or that, like, is she, like, the origin of why fairies can't lie kind of thing? Or, like, is that where that comes from?
Oh, interesting, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Because there's that scene where they're with the queens, and she's like, I am the Morrigan. You know that what I'm saying is the truth. But
Yeah, I speak truth.
what do you mean?
Yeah, I don't know if it's because she had the connection with the previous queens, and so supposedly there's some, like,
Yeah.
truthful connection. I don't know. Like, I never really have... I don't think we're supposed to know yet, necessarily, unless we are and we just missed it.
Yeah, I don't think we are supposed to know. I think it's very mysterious.
Especially because she's Reese's second, right?
Yes.
Above Amryn.
Right.
Which she is very powerful in terms of social ability. I think she's definitely like the Lucian of the Night Court.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Amryn is like, the muscle.
Yeah.
But she definitely is like the emissary, the one that can handle people by far the best, has the court training to be able to do it. Similar. Honestly, her and Lucian's stories are not all that similar. They both have extreme
Yeah.
trauma with the Autumn
Yeah.
Court.
That's true, they do.
Mm-hmm.
Huh, they're like kind of the same person?
Which they both get a lot of crap on the internet, so
They do.
not unsurprising. I do think there's definitely, like, again, we're not saying that Moore is a perfect character, but I don't think she's meant to be.
Yeah.
But, like, I really like the way that she treats Feyre.
Me
in
too.
particular. I think she's the one, and, like, she's the one that made Feyre the most comfortable. Like, when they all, like, winnowed up to flew up to the House of Wind when she
Yes.
met all of them the first time, and Cassian and Az are just doing their thing.
They're
Amryn-
just bat boys. It's fine.
They are just frat dudes.
Yeah.
We love them. Well, kind of.
I love Cassian.
Cassian is a frat boy. Az, I don't know quite how I feel about Az
He's
yet.
like just like an awkward.
He's like, he listens to emo music if it was current times.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fall Out Boy he would love. Well, maybe more of My Chemical Romance, but
I feel like My Chemical Romance.
I think Fall Out Boy would be too, like, upbeat for him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but, like, it's one of the few people that, like, she can tell, like, she kind of, which, I mean, she did physically save her from the mansion, so I think there's, like, a bond with her and Feyre, which I honestly feel like that might have been a little bit, like, healing for more because she got to save someone when she didn't really feel like anyone came to save her.
Yeah.
In her situation. So I'm sure there was, like, both sadness and some healing within that, and she seemed to understand what Feyre was going through and what she needed to be able to work through it.
She's like the ultimate girl's girl. She's like there for her girls, and she's there to support you. And
she's incredibly loyal, which to me is a big, like, that's one of my favorite traits in characters or just in people in general, like, is loyalty.
Yeah, I love that. She gets a lot. Lately, people have been talking a lot about how she might secretly be evil.
It would make me sad, but also it would be really cool.
It would be a great arc, but I would be so upset.
Yeah.
Because I love her. I don't love the way she reacted to Nesta specifically regarding Cassian.
Yeah, I agree.
I do think it's important to remember that she tried to bond with Nesta, though.
She did.
Despite knowing everything that Nesta did to Feyre, she tried to bond because she knew it was important to Feyre.
Yeah.
And Nesta was like, no, leave me alone. Nesta was going through her own thing, people. But
she was.
But she was like, absolutely not, leave me alone.
I think a lot of the reason that Moore reacts two ways to Nesta is, one, she's incredibly loyal, as I talked about, and she's incredibly loyal to Feyre.
Yeah.
And, like, I know Feyre works through, like, her own things with her family, but, like, it's also harder, I think, as a friend to work through those things. And,
it is.
Like, and, like, push past that.
From personal experience, it's a lot harder when you're trying to forgive someone for doing something to someone you love.
Yes.
Than someone doing something to yourself.
I agree. So I think that was part of it. And I also do think she was defensive for Cassian. Like, Cassian's a big boy. He can handle himself. Yeah. But again, she also still has that same loyalty and love for Cassian. And I do think she was trying to be like Cassian, in his own way, was trying really hard, and it just wasn't. If you've read the little novella, that whole, like, sequence really breaks my heart.
I know.
For him.
I know.
And I'm sure Moore saw that.
Yeah.
And, like, and also, I mean, Cassian's kind of the reason that she's able to have the freedom that she has. And
yeah.
In a not so great way.
Not great?
It was not his intention, but it's true.
But it happened.
It did.
So.
She was doing her best. I don't blame her for any of those actions. I think maybe she should have communicated them better, but I don't necessarily think Cassian was unaware that that was what was happening either.
Yeah.
They just didn't really talk about it, which is a running theme.
Running theme. No one talks to anyone about anything important. Because why would you when you could just not?
Why would you when you could just ignore it for 500 years and just pretend like none of it happened?
Yeah. Why would you when... I was just thinking about Lucian and being Helian's son.
Maybe that's part of the reason I love Lucian. Helion might actually be my favorite male in the entire series.
Yeah.
He is so funny. He's so unintentionally hilarious.
I just love that. I love this moment in, I think it's the second book. Is it the second book when Feyre's meeting all of the High Lords?
Yes, because they just found out that she was, like, High Lady, and Tamlin, was giving his... That is the point, truly, for me. I know we're going off on tangents, but truly that point, when Tamlin said what he said, was the moment that, in my brain, he was, like, dead to me.
Yeah. Honestly, that was the reason that I refused to believe that he could deserve a redemption arc for so long.
Yep.
Until I was like, okay, I guess I should look into the rest of his character and take into account the stuff that he's been going through.
Yes. At the same time, ew.
No need to ever do that.
Like, why show up if you're just gonna be a brat?
Right?
Like, just don't show up.
Yeah. No one needs that.
No.
Especially when, like, you're on the brink of war. Like,
well,
guys.
Also, my thought is, like, he still could have sent Lucian.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he still could have sent somebody if he wanted representation, and I think the meeting actually would have been helpful and went well.
Lucian would have done a great job.
Yeah, and Lucian was still there. Yeah, so I think Lucian should have been sent instead of Tamlin. Mm-hmm. I think at this point he did not trust Lucian.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair.
At all.
He has a lot of weird jealousy stuff going on with Lucian.
Yeah,
Fair.
Have you seen that man?
We love Lucian.
We are Lucian loves.
So Helion is like trying to sleep with Moore and Azriel, and there's this moment where Farrah looks at them all and she's like, "Why wouldn't they?"
Yeah, Farrah's like, "Yeah, duh."
Yeah.
Why not? Honestly, I love Farrah in this whole sequence of being like, if I was Farrah, she's so much better than me, about being like, how has literally no one noticed?
Yeah.
that they look the same.
Oh my god. Yeah, Lucian and Helion, I just love it so much. There's so much,
Took
like...
Farrah 5 seconds.
And these people have known each other for centuries.
I do think, I don't know how often they've been in the same room. We don't necessarily know,
That's
but
fair.
he is the court emissary, and, like...
Right, so he went to other courts. So he, in theory, went to Helion's court multiple times.
My thought is how... I'm wondering if Helion knows and just pretends not to. Because, like, he has to look at that face and be like, that's my nose. That's my face. Right?
Although, like, the brutal scar probably makes it less obvious.
Yeah, but that was only in the last 50 years.
That's true.
It's not like that's been
That's
recent.
true. That's true.
I mean, it has been recent, but... Yeah. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because, like, Helion, from a timeline perspective, right, has to be like, that would logically make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like he knows. It's like a thing we don't talk about.
Fairies need to learn to talk.
Yes.
Is what we're learning in this series.
They really do. Okay, back to Lucian.
Yes.
There's this thing that you sent me on Instagram.
Yes.
Where it's like, Sarah J. Maas, why make Lucian so hot? It's like, as a platonic friend, he, like, comforts Feyre in that scene where she pretends to have a nightmare and runs into his room in her see-through nightgown.
I also do love, but, like, truly, he didn't notice that at all. Like, he was not looking at that. He was just
wasn't.
like,
he was
"You're
like
upset."
comforting her. It's okay. He was there for her.
I think he just truly never thought of her as anything sexual.
Yeah.
Like, I just don't think he ever viewed her as, like, a sexual partner, so, like, he never thought about it. But, like, Lucian.
Yeah.
Especially with knowing Tamlin's jealousy. I think at this point, Lucian was no longer worried about Tamlin's issues.
I think so too.
I think he was very done
Yeah.
with him.
I think at that point also, he was like, she literally died for you.
Died for you.
Why are
want from
you
her?
jealous?
Well,
What do you
also,
want from her?
She died for you, and you betrayed her and really him.
Yeah.
And, like, I mean, technically, Tamlin is the reason that his mate went through the trauma that happened.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's going to be hard for him to forgive, I feel like,
Mhm.
and to deal with, but he's, like, doesn't really feel like he had anywhere else to go, because he couldn't go back home.
This is true. And he still thinks that the Night Court is evil.
Yes, and he also doesn't know that Helion is his father, or I think he would have went there.
Oh, hands
Which
down.
also technically makes him
Yes.
the future
He's
heir.
the future High Lord of the
Day Court?
Day Court, I
Is it
think.
Day or Dawn? I think it's Day.
Guys, we're bad. It's fine.
I think it's Day.
I think it's Day Court too.
Yeah. We can talk. Do you want to go into the High Lord section of it, or do we want
Yeah.
to?
I think we can take a break from theories and go into the High Lord section.
Okay. So we originally started in, like, a book club situation, and this kind of came up in our book club.
Yes.
But, like, if you had to pick a High Lord to date, which one would it be?
Yeah, I don't remember who I chose, actually.
It was not Helion.
No, it
So
wasn't.
mine is Helion. I stood by that very strongly
Yeah.
in book club, very emphatically.
I feel like mine was Tarquin. I just love him. He's so sweet.
He's my, like, second
He's
option.
a cutie patootie.
I think he is very sweet. For me, he's almost, like, too nice, which I know is a weird way to put it. I think he
No,
just
I
has a lot of
understand.
growth that he needs to go through.
He does. He needs a strong woman to help him out.
There you go.
Right here.
Get it. That is very fair. I think I do adore Tarquin. I also just don't think I would want to live in eternal summer, personally.
I would be fine with it because it's by the ocean, so I would just go swimming all the time.
That is fair. Honestly, if the Autumn Court was not what it was, I would 100% want to live in the Autumn Court. Because, like, Autumn is by far my favorite season.
Yeah.
They just suck. It makes me really sad that she made that the court that is just
That's
horrific.
evil? I know.
Because
Yeah.
I love Autumn. Because, like, in theory, if I was going to choose to live in one, 100% would be Eternal Autumn.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I would absolutely hate winter.
Oh, yeah. No.
It's too cold. I love snow. I do appreciate winter, but if that was just my entire life forever, I'd be so depressed.
I agree. The Night Court thing is really intriguing to me, but I do sometimes have a hard time picturing myself with characters that already have, like, the love of their life. Because I'm like, I can't compete with that.
Yeah. That's fair.
Like,
I
it's
agree.
really hard to, like, comprehend that for me.
I agree.
And, like, I am
love
not Feyre.
Rhys and Cassian. I love Rhys and Cassian,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I love them, but they belong to other people.
They do. Yeah, I agree. Yeah. So I struggle with that. I do realize that these are fictional characters. I am fully aware. But it's hard for me to like comprehend
Yeah.
that, like, because like I'm not like either one of those characters necessarily. So like they're not like that's what they want and need, and that is not going to be me.
Yeah.
So.
I also think like it depends on how well the author writes the love between two characters.
I agree.
There's some books where I'm like, oh my god, I could totally date him. But like this, like she really just writes them as so perfect for each other.
She does.
There's
They're also
no
so
one.
wrapped up in each other.
Yeah.
That like they're not going to look at anyone else.
No.
So, which is interesting too. Which, do we think that Helion and Lucian's mother are mates?
I hope so.
I hope so too.
That would be amazing.
That would be kind of complicated though. He seems so relaxed about it. I wonder if not. Because so that is the thing with Sarah J. Maas's universe. She does talk about mates being really rare.
Mm-hmm. But we've seen so many.
We've seen 3. But I do also think it could be different because all 3 of them were made.
That's true.
They were not born Fae.
That's true.
So I think the being made thing makes it different and maybe more intense. Almost.
I think that's a fair point.
Yeah.
Okay. We have done this before. I'm going to introduce our Guitar is Actually Twilight segment here.
Oh, yeah.
So there's this thing where I love Twilight.
She does love Twilight.
Unabashedly love Twilight. And, I mean, I was in middle school when it came out. I was obsessed with it. Obsessed. Not as obsessed as some people, but I, read the book several times. I went to the midnight book release for the Breaking Dawn. I went to the midnight showings of, not all of them, but some of them.
Yeah.
And there's this thing where it's like Bella Swan was born to be a vampire. She really, truly was born to be a vampire. She's just this, fumbling, clumsy klutz of a human who doesn't relate to anyone her own age.
She is not.
And people make a lot of fun of her, but, I get it. She reads a lot of literature. She relates to people who are older than her. That's fair. And then she turns into a vampire, and, everything makes sense for her.
It's suddenly, I feel like her becoming a vampire was just her, except she's prettier.
Yes.
In theory.
In theory.
They're supposed to be,
right. Supernaturally gorgeous.
Yeah, uncomfortably gorgeous.
Yeah. Almost, hard to look at.
Yeah. Because they don't want you to look at them because they sparkle.
Right. I think that Feyre and Nesta, and we'll find out about Elaine. I don't know yet, but
I think
Feyre
she's
and
got some
Nesta
character
were
growth.
born to be fairies.
Oh, Nesta 100%. I think Feyre grew into it.
I think she was born to be a fairy. She was so, and I think that for her, she was already mates with Rhys.
That's fair.
So she was literally born to be his mate. She was born to be a fairy.
Oh, that is true. I guess I never really thought about that in terms of cross-species mate bond things.
Yeah.
Because in theory, we had that with Rhys and Feyre, but she's, full Fae at this point.
Yeah, and I'm not saying that in, a ownership way, because that's gross to me. I just mean, the fates placed her in a position where there was no other way that it could have gone.
Yeah, I agree.
That is what destiny had in store for her. And then Nesta, kind of more similar to the Bella way, was born to be a fairy.
100%. That one. Well, I mean, even which again, we're rereading these books to talk about it in the podcast, but she talks about how Nesta already was unnaturally still for a human.
Yes.
Had the stillness, which she really recognized, and that was really fascinating. And the glamour didn't work on her.
Yeah.
Things like that. She essentially.
She was literally born to be.
Which does lead into a different theory. Just a little tidbit that their mother.
Yes.
Well, there's a couple of different ones. The one that I was thinking of, which you have written down. The one that I've heard a lot about, that kind of makes sense, is that her mother was Fae of some sort, even if it was half or just something along those lines, just because there is a lot of references to Tamlin being did your mother not tell you?
Right. Specifically, he goes, did your mother never tell you anything about us? Which is why the phrasing of that is so specific.
It was so specific. I don't know if it was in theory your mother tells you the fairy bedtime stories, and that was kind of where it was coming from, but it just seems so odd.
Yeah, especially because he didn't see a mother. When he went, he observed everything about their house when he went there, and he did not see a mother there. So.
Yeah, so I never really understood why, which Tamlin is Tamlin, but it just seemed odd to me. And also, Nesta very much seemed fae already, and she was her mother's creature. So, I mean, if she was training her to be more fae-like.
It could be.
Yeah.
And, like, we don't get a lot about the mother ever, really, but we do a little bit in the Court of Silver Flames, where her, Nesta, and the mom, she trained Nesta to be cultured. She trained her to be graceful. She could dance. She was educated. She trained her to be like a social predator, essentially.
Truly, yeah.
Right? And like, I don't feel like that's like, she trained her to be a predator, to take down other people.
Yeah.
And I don't feel like that's a very human thing.
No, it is a very, like, high social court thing, I guess, but in, like, a different way,
Yeah.
I feel like, than how typically you're trained in those realms.
Yes.
It just seems odd. Also, if you're curious about the whole, like, ears thing, about having pointed ears, not all fae, it's just only high fae that have the pointed ears.
Yes.
Illyrians don't have pointed ears.
Yeah, so
But they're still fae.
their mother could have been some other sort of fae.
Fae that we don't really know. Because, yeah, I think, because, like, we have a lot of different ones in different courts that don't have the pointed ears and that still look relatively human.
Yeah.
So.
Another theory for Feyre's mother is that this one is like so unhinged out of the blue.
Also, big crossover situation.
Very crossover situation. I love it so much.
I do too.
So in Throne of Glass, you have the 13, and you have Astrid, who had a baby with a mortal. And they say that the baby was stillborn,
Yes.
and burned and all of that. But there's this theory that, in fact, the baby was sent to another realm or another universe.
Like through a gate.
Through a gate. And there's this theory that Feyre's mother is actually Astrid's baby.
Yeah.
So she's like a iron teeth witch.
Yes.
And there's a few things. There's like, their bed is made from ironwood,
Yeah.
which is, it's like a throwaway line
It is.
in Akatar, but ironwood is the wood that the brooms were made of for the iron
witches.
teeth in Throne of Glass. And then we also get, like, the mother, she's this, like, cold, distant, non-emotional, calculating woman.
Which is what the witches are.
Which
yeah.
is what the witches are. She only shows love to the person that she loves, which is the father.
Yeah.
And, like, witches don't show love to their babies, really. It's like,
No.
you're raised for battle,
Yeah.
essentially.
You were raised to be emotionless. Yeah.
Yes.
Or I guess not emotionless, but like kind of.
Kind of.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like stoicism is kind of an emotion. But
I guess so.
yeah, they were raised to be stoic.
Yes. And then you also have, like, so Elaine's power when she comes out of the cauldron is being a seer. And then we touched on this, and I could be wrong about this, but
Yeah.
Feyre also, when she's human, she paints the adder with, like, stunning accuracy before
Yeah.
she knows what he looks like. And she has, like, nightmares, like, prophetic nightmares about, like, Amarantha. She has nightmares about Amarantha, like, killing her, essentially, and torturing
She
her.
does, yeah.
One theory is that she gets flashes from Rhys, which probably makes sense.
In terms of like the prophetic dream part of
Yeah.
it, less so, but in terms of like seeing the adder,
adder.
and seeing what Amarantha looks like, because like we do know that she got flashes of things from Rhys,
Yeah.
even when she was in the human
Like
realm.
the night sky thing.
Yeah.
But the other theory that I was thinking is that, like, if their mom is a witch, and there's clearly seer blood in their, like, there's seer power in their bloodline, if Elaine manifested that and Feyre was also sort of a seer,
Yeah.
then it would make sense that their mother was a witch.
Yeah.
She doesn't necessarily have to be Astrid's witch baby. I don't know, like, witches, I think witches exist in this world, I'm not sure.
We don't really know.
We don't really know, but there's something there.
Well, so that's kind of, that leads into a whole thing where there's the theory, which it does, so I guess spoilers for all of the book series. We've read all of them.
We've
by
read
the way.
all of them.
That, because there is things in Crescent City that connect back to Throne of Glass.
Oh, yeah.
Like the rings and different stuff. So there's a theory that it's Throne of Glass and then Akatar and then eventually Crescent City is like the timeline and how they're all
Yeah.
like connected.
Yeah, there's that theory also where the war in Throne of Glass, like the Kingdom of Ash War, is the great war that Gwen is researching in
Researching and looking back
Akatar.
on. Yes. Well, there's also the like how the gods are forgotten. Like they don't really know the names of them.
I never thought of that.
And because she dumps them in another universe.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mind blown.
Exactly. I really like it.
Anyways, so I think we agree. The mother is something.
There's definitely something with her. We just don't really know what.
Yes. I also really want to talk about Papa Archeron.
That man.
Okay, Papa Archeron, Prince of Merchants. We don't get a whole lot other than he was named the Prince of Merchants once, which is such a weird
It's such a weird title. Especially for, like, him to fall so much for that to be his title.
Right.
It seems so odd to me.
And then in the first book, basically the glamour is lifted when Feyre tells them this is what's happened, and they're like, oh, we remember everything, right?
Yeah.
Elaine says, I remember everything. Papa Archeron doesn't actually really say anything.
I don't think Papa Archeron talks.
I don't
through
think
that
so.
whole section. I think, like, Feyre specifically says, I leave because I couldn't say goodbye to my father again.
Yes.
Like, without saying anything to him.
That's right. And then, right, so then we literally don't see him for the next 2 books because he's off doing business
On, like,
for
the main continent.
literally 2 books. So where I'm going with this is that Papa Archeron was the Prince of Merchants. So he was a worldly guy.
Mm-hmm.
He kind of lost it mentally.
He did.
Which we've talked enough about that, I think, in previous episodes.
Mm-hmm.
He could have done better. He was going through something, whatever. We do not condone it. I'm saying whatever because we've discussed it to death.
Yes.
But then he gets everything back. And while he's still under the glamour, he, like, becomes the Prince of Merchants again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they ever, like, specify that, but he is basically back to where he was before.
Yeah, 100%.
And you know that because then the next time we see the Archeron sisters, he's away on business.
Yeah.
Like, he's away. And he is away for the entire book 2 and all of book 3 until the very end where he comes sailing in with reinforcements from the war. And then he dies and we don't get anything about him.
Yes. I liked the plot twist of him showing back up. I really did. And I thought it was sweet and I thought it was healing
I
for
was
a lot
really
of the
mad that
characters.
he died.
But because I wanted there to be more of a redemption for all of them, I was upset that he did. I did cry a little bit.
I did too.
I was not expecting it, and I was actually upset that I was upset. I was mad about it because I didn't like him, and I felt like he did come back and help them, but I don't really feel like it redeemed.
It didn't redeem anything. That's why I was mad that he died. Like, he didn't get a chance to
be able to redeem, but maybe he didn't deserve one.
This is a fair point.
Yeah, like he.
But this way, he literally just died a martyr, and now Farrah and Elaine are like, oh, he came in the end, and Nesta's the only one who is like, absolutely not.
Yeah, I do wholeheartly agree.
I agree with Nesta
on that. Yeah, I agree because there was no way to have closure, and I think that's really hard, and I think why we see so much with Nesta in A Court of Silver Flames, why she's struggling so much.
Yeah, agreed. But yeah, we don't get a whole lot about him. But then, like, if we take into account that the mother was clearly something else, it makes me want to know how did she meet Papa Archeron?
Yeah, like, how did that work?
How did that happen?
Yeah, how did they fall in love? Because, like, she definitely, I wish they did say that she was softer towards him.
Yes.
But, like, that is really interesting
It's
to
so
me.
interesting. Sarah, we need more.
Come on, Sarah, give us more. Pretty please.
Please.
We're asking politely.
Okay, I think we've probably been talking for a long time.
I agree.
So I think that we should end this spoiler episode.
Sounds good.
And we have just a lot more to talk about. So we'll be releasing more spoiler episodes as little bonuses.
We love these.
Yes.
So.
Next spoiler episode, I think we need to talk about Rhysand.
Absolutely, we have a lot of thoughts.
We definitely need to talk about A Court of Silver Flames as well. Just like everything, all of it.
All of it, yes, yes. So good.
And, okay, cool. All right, guys. This was fun.
Bye, y'all.
Bye. Hi, me again. I am here to let you all know where to find us. You can find us on Instagram at BookWitchesPod. You can find us on Spotify at BookWitches with a B. You can find us on YouTube at BookWitches with a B, and you can find us on TikTok at BookWitchesPod. All of this information is also going to be listed below our episode, and it's going to be listed in the ending credits if you're watching along with us in the videos. We'll catch you guys soon.